I'm sitting outside doing this because, I don't know, Sean's had an emergency wait staff meeting. Who has emergency meetings for waiters at a restaurant? I guess we never had those at McDonald's. You know, it's interesting though. I just got a letter from Maria Meyer. I'm going to walk out of that courtroom. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to say, Judge, you make me sick. And I'm going to walk out on all of them. And then they can squabble about their own filth, their own pig shit that they're in, and hold me in contempt of court, civil contempt. You know, good. I'm in civil contempt of myself. You know, she can pay for it. You know. Anyway, so I'm done volunteering. I said it's time I left this place, anyways. You know, Sean was like, well, all of me is dying. I'm like, that's not my problem. They won't let me air that video that I made. Every time I do, the web page won't let me publish it. You know, of course, it talks about their secrets, and obviously what you could do to them, Stephen, if you wanted to. I was sitting outside and I thought, what about Sharia law or rabbinical law or canon law or that ancient law? You know, older than those, not pretty. And there's some soul laws. You know, I guess there's technology laws too. You know, it's not funny. I mean, it's not funny when you think about it. I'm not paying that Maria Myers any money. None of it would have happened in the first place if she would have just listened. And none of it's going to be repeated. I would leave her in any time and in any form, no matter what. That doesn't mean that I still love her, but it means that I would still leave her no matter what. Can you imagine that, an eternity of caring for small children constantly? And if that means that her form is in the form of a man, then so be it. There's people out here talking now, so of course some of the same people that cause some of the same problems. You know, it's always funny when it comes around to them and it comes back to get slapped in the face about they were the cause of their own problems and I was just a witness to it because they never listened. They spoke up enough though. You know, they complained enough about, oh, I'm not being treated fairly, I'm not this and I'm not that, and I don't even care about being treated fairly anymore. You know, I'm not applying for jobs anymore. Sean said, well, that's your new full-time job. And I'm like, bullshit, you know. Not listening to him anymore. He can pick up his own shit. You know, and if that means a life without pleasure for anyone, without any kind of fun, I'm sure she would want that to punish them. endlessly searching for something that they'll never have. And then the people who have will lose. And it'll just be this destroyed world, you know. And I'll just walk away from it. If I have to walk away from it in my mind and leave this shell here, I already called one man my son in my reach back there. This place is hollow, anyways. I thought it would be a place that I could find something. And apparently not. So, I know some people laugh about it and think it's funny. I think others know that what I've seen and what I've said is really true. I don't have any judgment for them. Hold on. I don't have any judgment for them. They do a good enough job destroying themselves. Maybe that's what some want, to destroy themselves. It's not going to be that easy, though. It won't. Of course, some would want me to be quiet and silent, but I won't do that either. And I'll find a way to get that video. I already know how to do it. I'll find a way. It crashed on several different web browsers. I won't say what they are. But I will get that published soon. And if that means that I have to drag a couple souls with me to do it, or something with me, or call in some old favors, I don't care about talking ill about my family and saying, telling Margie that she needs to get her act together before those children grow up to be miserable adults because they don't know how to deal with anything themselves. I shut her out of my life, for a reason. I told you she called the cops on me for no reason. The real cops, you know. I'm going to spend all my energy working on this man and pull it all back into him. And the rest are going to be on their own. Sure, Stephen will still talk about things. But I'm going to pull back all my focus on his life. On this one. I know sometimes the videos look like they're made by different people. Or I look different in them. I guess no one else would know my life as well as I do. Except people who stole my life story. And used it for something other than what they never understood about it. I told Sean that I was done blaming him for stuff. There's really no need to blame him. If this is all of him, then this is no place for Stephen. Besides, most of my stuff has been distorted and taken out of context. Syntax has been tenses and conjugated verbs are just you're right, it's funny that they won't let that one video that's so true be published. It's the truest thing I think I've said so far. How some circles would like to remain where they are. Again, it's just fear. I use that word cowards a lot, but what it is it's fear and people wanting to hold on to their lies so they have some comfort in their life. You know. And well, with new things come times of uncertainty. And that's beautiful, though. You know why? Because it creates dialogue and discussions, and it brings people together. It makes things confusing, but only in the short term. You know. I told you I had that guide, and he was telling me things, and he hasn't really returned yet. I mean, I have those other, council people, but that one guy hasn't. Maybe he did, and I squashed him. You know. My life was beautiful. No one's going to be able to interfere with it anymore. Maybe I should go down to one of these emergency waiters meeting with Sean one day and say, "Oh, what you're gonna talk about who's gonna be on what table?" I know some people are like, "Well, you ruin everything all the time, Steve." That's because you lie. Others lie, and somehow I find out. Well, she's telling you. You know that. Some of it was built on her own lies. That's hard for you to say, isn't it? That it was built on her own lies. She was trying to shelter people too. That's what happens though when the truth comes out, it destroys lives for a little bit. Makes them take a second look at their own life and fall inward. And sometimes that's hard to get out of when you fall inward. I have no need to get out of it though. You know, maybe I shouldn't have volunteered, but I did. But I think I've been here long enough. So it is funny though, all the beauty here, nature, different trees, different animals. So different than like even the breeds of dogs and stuff. And the squirrels, I told you, they look a little different too. They have that striations and those markings that aren't common among squirrels and that I remember. You said earlier, Stephen, who summoned you here? Or who summoned me here? You said you volunteered. You know. And I think some people think they don't know who you are, so they look at your life and they kind of go, oh. Some people would like you to be someone different. But you change that all the time too, don't you? Pretty much. And this matter isn't about Tara and Stephen. It's about Sabea and Mia. I can't do that anymore. If she put their souls in danger, she's going to have to figure out a way to get them out of it. I could circle around this whole place and still realize that it was never my fault. I was guilty of having 2 children that I loved more than the world. But the rest of it is, you know. Sean makes fun of me and says things like, "Oh, isn't that mysterious? Isn't that just frightening?" And I'm not afraid of anything. You know, I turn that around too and turn fear into something that's manageable and like I know maybe other people have problems with their own fears. I never was afraid of dying. Hell, I wanted to kill myself when I was 11. Something saved me. I'm not afraid of being stuck here. I could pack up what little things I have that are really mine and get on a Greyhound bus and just, you know, go someplace. Sean's like, well, it's all around you, Stephen. You can't get away from it. There's still places that I could get away from it. So, it's funny. I don't even know why I need to tell you all this stuff here. Sean's been so persistent about telling me that it's not the same place and these aren't the same people. And people that I know don't know the same history. Even when I tell them who they are, they're like, you know, they look exactly like them. And I'm like, don't you remember? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, I do. I remember you. And I see you. You know, I'm not really that concerned about that idea of the rest of me. No. She said, Stephen, she's just going to focus all your energy on her now. Or on you. Even if she's inside of you. Well, I think there's a couple more people in there too. Important people. You said in that last video that some people at the council left. And you weren't that upset about it, you know, that they needed maybe to leave for themselves or to go start their own. And that created networks. And strong leaders knew that. You know? So. I don't know. I thought I would just come outside and sit and talk for a little bit. Oh, there's people back there. I'll get those in there. It's hard not to get other people in the video when you can't see them anyways, so. Yeah. Well, I guess there's worse things, you know. That little guy. And it's funny, people are like, do this, do this, do this. And it's like, you know what? You do it. If you don't like what I'm doing, do something else. Don't listen. You know? I don't even know if anybody does listen. I'm not doing it for anybody else but you, Stephen. So. It's funny, one day they will find out about how they like hurt their own brothers and sisters. I wonder though what you could do to them all. Maybe a few choice words would do it. I don't know. Hey Sarah, if you're listening, I hope that rosary helped you. I see what kind of shell you are now. No. And I liked you. You know, I did. The first day I saw you, I thought, she's alive. And now I'm just like, but that's what happens when you look at things, you know, in like this grand scheme of things. It's like, you know, and all the Tims out there. Good. I've kind of liked that name now. You know, and the Heralds. There were so many in my family, anyways. I'm like, bring it on. You know, I like that name too. They don't get to me anymore. So, Sean said once, well, it was meant to hurt me. And Stephen, you said things differently. You were like, well, he said, what else? I'm here for your pain. And I was like, I don't even have any pain. Or here for your hurt. You know, I don't have any. Giving up Savea and Mia wasn't very painful because I know that they're in my heart. And considering they didn't know their story or their life here, then it didn't hurt me at all. You know? So, it's funny. Not funny as in haha funny. It's just funny that I just turn everything around on itself. I don't think I'm going to go to this court thing. Or I'll go, but I'll walk out on them. They didn't even have any of Kim's stuff. Stuff that would have hurt Tara, hurt her feelings in those records. And I'm not going to bring them. I'm just going to walk in there and sit down and say, I swear under oath, goodbye. You know? And then watch them all fight. Or sit there in silence. And Maria will probably come up with this, well, I motion that we, you know. Why would a father have to pay lawyers' fees after he after I told them in the first place we didn't need to go to trial. Why would I pay for her lawyer? Why would I even help her soul get out of this mess that she's in? You know? People think that it's terror that's inside of you, Stephen, and it's not her that you're talking about, is it? Not at all. Not at all. So, Stephen Philip Lindquist spelt disaster in any time and any place, and I wouldn't change a thing. You know? I don't know. I did say things here would be different one day, though. You know? Maybe they already are just from you being here. Maybe people think you're crazy. I'm happy with that, too. You know, maybe it's like you understand the psychology behind more than what they understand. You know, even though they tried to use psychology against you, right? Like double reverse psychology. Or double reverse fetish. I don't know. Or some null equation with a zero effect to it. I don't know. I'm just throwing these like weird things out there. Oh, we have the police thing here. It's funny watching. Well, I just sit there and watch it sometimes too. This little police state, you know, in civil contempt of court. You know, three C's. And I don't have to be bothered by any of it anymore. If I remove myself from it, there's nothing to fight about.